Hey everyone! Shout out from Guatemala. This week has been a very interesting one for me. I've been able to see kind of the surface level of both the beauty and the pain and learn more probably about the history and the culture of this place than I have yet so far in my time here. So you get to meet my teacher, see my school. We're going to head to the village of Santa Maria de Jesus and to the capital, Guatemala City. Alright, so this is my school, and as you will see, it is not like any schools in the U.S. At the center is kind of a courtyard area, just like all of the houses pretty much around here. The fountain. And all of the students and teachers are paired up in groups of 2, often at little tables, but not always. Marco, dije hola, porfa. Porfa, digo hola a los estudiantes.
Hola, los locos
this
estudiantes.
is Marco.
Crazy Marco.
Crazy Marco, sí. Y ¿dónde está mi maestro? Where's my teacher? Ah, ahí está aquí. This is my teacher, Rafa.
Hola chicos, bienvenidos al Centro Lingüístico La Unión.
He said he's one of the teachers that learned this video. Oh, y necesito, this is your one.
Hola. Bienvenidos a La Unión. Mi casa es su casa.
He said, welcome to La Unión. This house is your house. But as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful here. Me digo, hola, porfa. Hola. Hola. This weekend, I got an unofficial tour of a Mayan village not too far away from Antigua. I think being in this village, I was able to really get maybe a better picture of the other side of Guatemala. Antigua is a very touristy part of Guatemala. It's not, and some would say it's not really true Guatemalan. I think that all of Guatemala is really true Guatemalan, but the majority of Guatemala is nothing like Antigua. So this little village that we went to visit is called Santa Maria de Jesus. It's named after the main church that is there, which was built to honor Saint Mary. And the little village itself was just so different from everything I've seen so far. There is trash everywhere. Because there's no tourists, there's not really a need to pick up the trash, hire people to pick up the trash. There were dogs everywhere, probably 4 times as many as there are in Antigua, and most of them were starving and fighting and running around the streets with fleas and nastiness. Regardless, I loved seeing the beauty that was in the eyes, the faces of the people who were living there. Mayan population there was a lot higher than in Antigua. I frequently heard a language that was not Spanish being spoken around me. They were probably speaking Cachiquel, which is the most common indigenous Mayan language that's spoken around these areas. So our group of students from Spring Arbor spent the weekend in La Ciudad de Guatemala, which is the capital here. First day we went to the Mayan Museum that's in Antigua. It's an archaeological museum, and it kind of depicted a lot of Mayan history from the early, like hundreds and hundreds of years BC, all the way up through the classical period and on to what is Mayan culture today. After that, we went to the zoo, which was pretty cool. It was kind of strange to see a raccoon depicted as an exotic animal, but I loved the groups of school children that were there for the day. It was really great to talk and chat with some of them. On Saturday, we had a guest speaker come in and talk to us about some of the things in Guatemalan history, economics, and history that are here. One of the statistics our speaker talked about this last weekend is the fact that almost half of the Guatemalan children who are under 5 years old are seriously malnourished. And it's kind of crazy to think about when we walked in the mall and you could buy a pen for thousands of dollars, or a dress for several hundred, and yet we have half the children in Guatemala who are basically starving. After that, we went to the Central Park here in Guatemala City and had a tour of the National Palace, which is kind of like the equivalent to our White House in the US. And the palace was one of the most grand things I've seen since being here. Currently, the president doesn't live there. He lives a little ways away, but it's been opened up as a museum and historical kind of site. Saturday night, we watched a movie called $1 a Day, which is about a couple of college students. They decided to take their summer and live on $1 a day per person, which is what the vast majority of people in the world live on. They chose a Guatemalan village and recorded the entire time as a documentary. It's a little over an hour long. It's one of the most impactful things I've seen since coming here, and I highly recommend it. I included a link down underneath with some more information about what their site is and what they do, and how to get the video if it's something you're interested in doing. Sunday we went to Casa de Dios, House of God, which is the biggest church, well, arguably the biggest church in all of Guatemala, several thousand people. So the word for this week is a phrase I learned from my Guatemalan professor. It's "Es un lobo disfrazado de oveja," which literally translates as "he is a fox costumed, wearing the costume of a sheep," which it has a similar meaning to our phrase "he's a wolf in sheep's clothing" in English. But here they don't really have wolves, so the closest thing that they can come to a wolf is something like a fox. During one of my very first days here, my professor, Paul, said, if you haven't seen the beauty in Guatemala and the people that are here and the land, then you haven't really seen Guatemala. But at the same time, if you haven't seen the pain and the hurt that's here, then you really haven't seen Guatemala either. And so this week, as I traveled around and was able to see more of both sides of that coin and the tension that's there, I think I began to understand a little bit more about what he means. So this video might not be as cheerful as the last couple ones that I've sent, but I think I'm beginning to get a better picture of what Guatemala is really like, and I want to share that picture with you, even if it's not always pretty. Anyhow, have a good week. You will hear from me soon.